Fee, blow me a kiss. I hear breathing.
Really?
Somebody says another thing.
They hear
Heavy breathing.
We just love technological difficulties.
Sound is on, says Kathleen Looney.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. Guys, like, share, subscribe.
This isn't the deep state, Pasta.
It is totally the deep state.
Pasta really loves to blame everything on deep state.
Because everything is usually connected to the deep state.
Fam, you
Fam, we
gotta
gotta learn
specify what it is. Otherwise, you're Alex Jones. If you don't specify what you mean by that.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Are we up on the ROKFIN?
Okay, I'm going to share this now.
We're good on the... Okay, where's...
Sorry, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Convo Couch. I am
my
Pasta
God.
Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny Sue is on the ones and twos.
If I ever speak like that, naturally, you know that I've been co-opted. Just so you guys know.
Glory Jones is on the ROKFIN. If I see a new member on the ROKFIN, the first one to go on there and sound off, I'm going to send you a Convo Couch t-shirt. Put it in the mail for yourself. It is free right now. All you have to do is register and sign up. And if you can afford, if you got that EDD check, which is the unemployment, send us $9.99 a month and help us out. Endorse us over there. Of course, our Patreons, we love you. There's 93 of you now. It's great. We are honored and humbled by your love that you show every month to the Convo Couch, and we will always take your funds and put it into real play and give you real independent journalism, won't we, fam?
Yes, fam.
I know. The other day, what was it like at that where'd you go to, the rent freeze thing or the...
it was a rent cancellation.
Ah.
There's, the difference is when you cancel rent, you aren't going to pay it back. If it's a rent freeze means it can't go up in price.
Yep.
That means your landlord can't increase it.
So
the rent cancellation is what people are asking for. Why? Because people aren't going to be able to pay it back, and then you're going to have this big, however $5,000, $6,000, or however big debt in California. You're never going to be able to pay it back. So that's the whole point.
Well, we're gonna get on the phone with Elena Pop. Fiorella mentioned her in one of the shows the other day. She knows everything. She runs a group of lawyers and advocates that fight for the little guy out there, for tenants' rights. So she'll give us some more information what's going on. I think in her mailer, she said you should at least have 4 months of planning of food and everything going on. So don't give up your rent money because you don't want to be left out in the cold with no money for food.
Well, at least in California, at least in LA County, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's all of California, but we can only speak for what we know here, which... I think we have a few more rights compared to other people, but not that much.
Mad Wolf says, hey, Pasta, give us more cooking vids. You better believe it, my friend. I will, because I love to cook. Fam, I'm going to make you some food right after this.
Great, fam.
Let's get started with the show.
I'm hungry.
I know. I'm starving right now. Listen, Glory Jones is the only one. She's on ROKFIN.
Glory Jones is a boss.
You got enough shirts, Glory. I'm not sending you any more shirts, okay? Maybe when we get coffee mug, we'll send you that.
She needs a coffee mug.
She does need a coffee mug. But go on over. There's 4 viewers now. Sign off on the chat. The first new person we see to sign up for ROKFIN today and join our chat and share our stuff, Kathy Looney. Boom. Kathy Looney, hit us up at the convocouch@gmail.com.
With your size.
And your size, and I would love to send you a shirt. Thank you so much, Kathy Looney, for joining our ROKFIN. It does mean a lot to us. And thank you for the Super Chat contribution. Slow News Day. He's in the house. We'll get it going. It's good to see you, my friend. Great work you've been doing, Poikinen. You've been really hustling. A lot of people, we love your work. I wanted to call you and tell you that the other day, but I was busy, and Andrew wouldn't let me off the phone. He won't let you up. I'm like, yeah, Andrew. But great work you guys are doing over there. Fam, let's get started because your girl has done something.
So Marianne Williamson had initially pissed me off with saying something like, vote for Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah. But she has sort of redeemed herself because to me this is the most important race right now because the presidential race is pretty much a lost cause, in my opinion. And replacing Nancy Pelosi to me, she is the gatekeeper that stands against progressive legislation time and time again. She makes sure to get people like AOC, Tlaib, etc. to fall in line most of the time. And she had such a powerful position that replacing her to me should be the priority of all progressives now. The guy who's running against her, of course, is Shahid Buttar, and he is running in San Francisco, which is a very, very powerful area full of a lot of Silicon Valley executives. A lot of those people support Nancy. So I think he needs our support. And Marianne Williamson, as far as I know, FAM has been the only progressive to fully support him. Of course, she was a presidential candidate, but I haven't seen any of the squad or any other of the people who are currently holding office really support him.
Yeah. I mean, she's going right to directly to the problem. You know, once again, Marianne Williamson, you know, some type of like spiritual psychologist of sorts. She's going to go to the root of the happiness, the love, the anger. Yeah. She's going to it right now. Okay, we said this before on this show. Some of us might not feel the same way out there, but we've always felt that Nancy Pelosi, getting her out of there, is just as important, if not more important, than getting rid of Donald Trump. She is the gatekeeper to make sure that all progressive policy doesn't get through the House. Right. Okay, she's doing it now. We'll talk about it some more today. But the fact that Marianne Williamson went right to the cause of the problem, and like you said, nobody will dare cross Nancy Pelosi. No. And that's the thing we didn't get. With the Freedom Caucus, we got that. They went after Cantor. They went after the leadership. We didn't get that from the squad and the progressives in there. We aren't getting it. You know what I'm saying? Even Bernie Sanders now kind of goes after the Republicans all the time. No, this is the problem. And thank you, Marianne Williamson, for addressing the real problem, which is Nancy Pelosi. Sooner or later, we got to address the problem in the Senate, which is Chuck the Schmuck Schumer.
Oh, God.
But we'll, you know.
Well, and she gets away with it. She plays games with people, right? She tells you that she's working for the working people as a Democrat. She's been promising Medicare for all, universal health care. We can go back to a video in I think it was 88, something along those lines, where she was like, oh, yeah, we're going to. She hasn't done anything, okay?
What did she want to do? She wanted to secure COBRA, insurance policies, open up the ACA.
And she wanted to make sure you weren't double dipping with your $1,200 check plus your $600 unemployment plus your other, with a $25,000 fridge there, she wanted to make sure you weren't double dipping. Like she likes to double dip her ice cream. Okay, so let's just listen to what Marianne Williamson said, because it was really succinct and really well said.
I am a lifelong Democrat who has become very...
Brittany Abbey goes, I would like a t-shirt. Hit us up on the convo couch at gmail.com. And I will get you one for going over to the ROKFIN today. Thank you so much, Brittany Abney. It does mean a lot to us. We have 7 viewers over there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're really trying to build this platform. They really take care of their content creators. They don't suppress our voice, and it means a lot to us. Hi, Allison Irwin. Number 8, aloha, she says.
Aloha.
Allison, let me know when you get your shirts, too, as well. I sent you a couple, you know what I'm saying? And you won the game last week. Great game. Listen, guys, that trivia game, you guys, that was so informative, you know what I'm saying? And it really tells you a lot. Like, who was it? Was it John Bolton, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden?
It just tells you that they're very similar.
So similar, especially when it comes to foreign policy. So definitely we'll hang it out. We'll send it to you, and we will get it going. Brittany Abbey, hit us up on the convo couch at gmail.com. Stay over there. We will go back and forth. Roshan, how are you, buddy? It's good to hear from you. Good to see you. I'll get in touch with you, my friend. Old Gringo is in the house. Johnny, you let me know when we're ready, and I will shut up. We're going to try it. Here we go.
This direction of the party in too many cases. My own experience in the presidential campaign showed me how the control of certain forces at the expense of progressive voices is a direction that is taking Democratic Party away from the principles on which I was always raised to believe it stands. And so in this election, I feel that we need to do everything possible to make a strong stand for the progressive vision that many of us feel is absolutely essential, not only for the future of our country, but also for this next election. I am now endorsing Shahid Buttar for the congressional seat in the San Francisco district where Nancy Pelosi now serves. We have to get right to the heart of things. And the Nancy Pelosi's of this world, and I say this with all due respect for Nancy Pelosi, have got to hear us that we are serious. Have got to understand that, yes, we on the left will challenge you. We on the left that, God, Nancy, this was what we always thought you were. This is what I always thought the Democratic Party was supposed to be. We've heard long enough. Yes, you understand. No. This last HEROES Act, that did it for me. Should be $2,000 a month. until this is done. We need Medicare for all. We need a show of compassion for the American people. That is simply not the agenda these days for the corporate-backed Democratic Party. And if that doesn't change, I think we're going to have a hard time this year, and America's even going to have a harder time in the future. So I hope you'll check out Shahid Buttar, because I think he's worthy of our support. He's a perfect challenger for Nancy. I think this is good for Nancy. You can go to shahidbuttar.com. I support him wholeheartedly because I think there's a message there that's an important one. And I hope that you will join me. Progressives can't just be sidelined all the time or pandered to, suppressed. It's got to stop. Let's stop it now. shahidbuttar.com. Thanks.
Yep. And
Fam, I'm smiling. It's just like that was so freaking awesome. Let's go to the source of the problem, right?
it shouldn't be a big deal, you guys, but she's literally the only person doing this. I mean, I haven't seen any AOC, Bernie, none of these people go out on a limb and endorse somebody against one of the most powerful politicians of our time, one of the richest as well, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, to me, it shows courage, and she's right. I mean, this is what the Shahid isn't some radical leftist. Not really. I mean, he's an activist. He's still willing to work within the Democratic Party, which is one of my concerns.
Yeah.
That I have. You know, I'm not really, but I think candidates like him, like she said, he's a good candidate, a good challenge for Nancy Pelosi, because he's still like trying to do it within the Democratic Party. He's not even that radical of a candidate. He's simply going to do what the Democratic Party has said that they were going to do for a long time, that they've stopped doing. And so to me, it's a no-brainer. I don't have to agree with everything Shahid represents, but some of the things he does represent are accountability when it comes to your civil liberties and also election integrity. I think he would be somebody that would fight for election integrity based on our interviews with him and the things we've discussed.
Yeah.
And somebody that's going to fight for Medicare for all. And she's right. Like, this last HEROES Act did it for her. The CARES Act did it for a lot of us, but for the HEROES Act, I mean, you know, we need a UBI. We need something like that, and they completely ignored that.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about later.
Yeah,
in a minute.
I mean, listen. When it comes to Shahid, I wish he'd be a little bit more savage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I like that. It seems like, hey, you know, what's going on with this? You want to come on the show maybe and talk about what Nancy's done wrong? He's like, no, I'm gonna go tell you I have solutions. He's always presenting solutions. So no matter what, if you don't believe in his tactics, or maybe he could be a little bit, he always has a solution. He's always up to date on stuff. He educates us. He educated me so much on emoluments, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
On and off of the show. And like you say, our civil liberties, he got arrested for going after Clapper. And, you know, even though he was really strong on impeaching Donald Trump, he's across the board. He wants to impeach any corporate Democrat that gets out of line, as well as anybody on the right. So it's not, he doesn't play as many tribal politics. He plays a little bit, I think, too, because his district calls for that. Mm-hmm. He's got that district where they have a lot of latte liberals in San Francisco that just hate Trump. So, I mean, it's interesting to see what happened. But what Marianne Williamson just did right there is pretty amazing, fam. And I really wish we'd see more people do that.
Yeah.
Because that is the source of the problem. That is what we need to get rid of. And, you know, regardless who do what on this HEROES Act, the fact that nobody's calling out Nancy Pelosi is kind of sad right now, because she is the root of the problem.
Yeah, it's very
and you go see right there, that's Shahid getting arrested for going after Clapper. You know, right up in our civil liberties. They tell him, he's like, why is there a different set of laws for these guys? They get away with doing what they did, and there's a different set of laws for us. And
it would just show like the taking away the queen, because she is the queen on the chessboard right now. Yeah. Like she calls a lot of the shots, and if we can take down the queen, we can do a lot. And I think if everybody's effort right now should be to remove, apart from general strike, should be to remove Nancy Pelosi. I don't give a damn about who Joe Biden's VP is going to be. Yeah. That's a position of not much power. And also, I don't think Joe Biden with anybody is going to beat Donald Trump. I think that the force here would be to replace Nancy Pelosi. That would make you a competitive party against the Republican Party, because they can no longer really, if you get a progressive in there, what is Donald Trump going to say? Oh, Shahid. I mean, it's just like, that would be real opposition. Yeah. That's right now. This is just a game. It's play. It's play.
It's something that has not happened on the left, that happened on the right. While we have Donald Trump here, he's not the typical establishment Republican at all. Yeah. The establishment was against him. He was more of a Tea Party minded guy. That's because when we talk about that Freedom Caucus, we need to do that. And if we don't do that and we allow this person to still be the keeper at the gate, we're not going to get anything.
Yeah.
Because she's the worst opposition there is whatsoever against progressive policies, because our policy is make sure progressives don't take power first.
Yep.
Then if we can beat some Republicans after, maybe we'll do so. So, and it's kind of funny, isn't it? Because when we started this show, I remember we did the top 4 candidates that we liked. Stephen Jaffe was one of those candidates. Shahid Buttar entered the race late. He entered the race because he was pushed. They said, listen, there's no ground game from the other progressives going on. Now, there was a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Complaining back and forth, a lot of huffing and puffing.
There was just too many candidates.
Yeah.
Like, progressives, we need to be able to out-organize in the sense of the establishment. They come together against one candidate, for one candidate. We don't do that on the left because we believe in democracy, right? It's ironically a thing that, in a way, though, like standing behind somebody like Shahid, in this case, he's the only one I think left that actually has the best chance of defeating her. It's him and Nancy. So why not, guys? Like, stand behind this guy. I think it's important. I'm not a Democrat. I'm going to be a Democrat any longer. But one of the people I would support, even as an independent, would be
and we know in this channel, because we have a little inside information, because we were close to a lot of the parties when it came to a lot of those people, the new people they were putting forth. We had her on the show. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But Shahid really earned the right to run against Nancy. Yeah. He's the one who got the most votes in 2016 and 2018, and you know what I'm saying. Was it 2018 the first time he ran? When there's the 3 progressives.
So.
Well, he got the most votes than all the progressives. So he earned the right this time. So I know this time when people were kind of putting forth, I'm like, no, we should have gotten behind Shahid then. We should have got after what happened in 2018. But there was a lot of hurt feelings, like, why did he run in the first place? But he was pushed because nobody was mounting a ground game. And he's the only one to show for that district that he's got a legitimate shot of getting out there and getting the vote.
Now, it's still an uphill battle. I think that if he loses this time, next time, he can absolutely get it.
Yeah. He should be able. Yeah, he should.
Yeah,
he should be pushing for the next time if he does. If he comes close.
Yeah,
it's got to be. Once again, it will be a 6-year campaign or whatever the case may be. But he has got the momentum. He's got his. He's dug in there deep, and we should continue to support him. So, fam, what do you want to talk about the Heroes Act? What's your fave?
Real quick. I really like what Jan/JC Nova said. Priority should be removing Nancy with Shahid, Steny Hoyer with Michaela Wilkes, and Debbie Schultz with Jen Perlman.
Yep.
Bonus points with Shiny Yacht versus Greg Meeks, Lauren Ashcraft versus Maloney.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Yeah, those are the top. I mean, I'm looking at right now the progressives that I think we could potentially get, especially Debbie Wasserman Schultz out, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. And that's going to be, let me tell you something, those two right there, it's such an uphill battle because both of those women have deep-seated roots in money within their community.
Yeah.
Very, very, there's a lot of money behind Debbie Wasserman Schultz. There's a lot of money behind Pelosi. It's going to take a hurricane to beat them, sorry.
And I see Roshan saying that we need Tim Canova there, but I think Tim Canova should take a step back and then
he has.
I think he should run for president, honestly, instead of running for a congressional.
He should run for senator. He can run for governor.
I think Tim Canova would be great on
the
federal
future.
level.
Yeah.
Well, I
mean,
for
now we need to focus on the election integrity stuff.
Absolutely, and he's there. And let me tell you something. I've got news for the grapevine that Tim has been talking to everybody and all. That's the thing I love about Tim. There's a group of people saying, Tim, you got to go this way with election integrity. You got to go this way with voting. Tim's like, no, I want all the information. I'm going to figure it out and figure what's best. And he's definitely picking and peeling from all aspects, so he knows more than anybody, Tim Canova, about black box voting, and he's fighting against that. So I think that's great. And by the way, that girl said, that's my woman, Marianne. Thank you for the super chat contribution. And Gringo, girl. He did one of these things. Like
Orb Queens Unite.
Oh, Gringo, thank you for the sticker with the boom, boom, bah. Okay, and Glory Jones over there says, by the way, thanks, y'all, for my CONVO care package.
Aw,
CONVO care package. It's amen. It's always appreciated on the couch. P.S. Jen Perlman is running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz is cool too. And let me tell you something. I wish her the best. I don't know what Tim is going to do, but he has stepped out of it. If Tim ever runs, he'll run as an independent. He won't ever run in the Democratic Party. So the fact that he's standing aside, if in fact Jen Perlman beats Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I bet you guarantee you that I would bet money that Tim Canova will probably stand behind Jen Perlman.
When is I mean, I guess everything, her race was... Everything is up in the air.
Florida's always late when it comes to those things. They kick it back. So yeah. Guys, 155 watchers. How many do we have on the ROKFIN? We have 11 Look at that. Slow news day, my man, old gringo. We'll get you Holly Horn. I know she got her shirts, hopefully. So, Heroes Act.
So the Heroes Act, of course, led by Nancy Pelosi and the schmucks and all these people, was pretty much another funneling of money to the lobbyists. We talked about last week how there was provisions there that were actually taking money away from essential workers. We talked about how it was padded with the usual sort of Democratic BS. It's not just the Republicans. It's just, the Democrats and Republicans work in tandem to make sure that we get as little as possible and that their lobbyists and their banks and their corporations get as much as possible. And this one completely omitted the $2,000 a month reoccurring stimulus check or UBI and other items, fam. And to me, that was the biggest thing to omit that, because what it does is give you a $1,200 payment, and on top of that, she had to make sure that you weren't double dipping, is what they called it.
Yeah.
So to me, this is like another slap in the face towards the working and middle class, because as Pasta will tell you, a lot of the small businesses haven't gotten their PPP. And what they have gotten instead is very, very specific instructions that keep changing depending on how a business is supposed to spend it. Like, they are trying to dictate how these businesses are supposed to spend it. And if they don't do exactly as they said, they're claiming that they're going to go after you, that they're going to sue you, that they're going to take it away. I mean, how free are you if they can dictate that you, an independent business, how you are going to use this money? They always put these strings and they attach these strings telling you that they're helping you, but they're really not.
And it's really, the thing about it, it's very nefarious, because what they do is it's the cheese in the trap, right? Okay, we're going to take care of workers. We're going to do the PPP, the protection payment, paycheck program. But then after you pay all your employees, but you couldn't invest in your business to keep it going, to make the necessary changes. Now I'm talking people in the restaurant business more than anything, because everything's changed, right? Now we're not going to allow to have a bunch of people in one room at one time. So places have to adjust. They're going to have to spend money on that, but they don't allow you to spend that money on there. So what happens is your employees are taken care of for now. So you stay settled down. You're like, most of the employers are like, all right, we're getting a few bucks. But then after that money runs out, the business folds, right? Because simply everything changes. The business won't go back to normal. Nothing's really changed. You can't renegotiate your leases or whatnot because they're not going to do it. So they give the people the money in the front to disguise that they're going to take all the businesses and consolidate their wealth and power later. If they can kill all the mom and pop small businesses, then the big corporations get all that money. You know what I'm saying? They get all those businesses. And that's what they're planning on doing. So the PPP program, they're very specific that where you can spend that money, which is really bullshit, because all the small business owners are really going to be left out in the cold when push comes to shove down the road, fam. They're not going to be able to recover.
And there's no health care for all. There's COBRA. There is no
insurance
rent
again.
freeze, rent moratorium, rent cancellation. Definitely not. And none of that. And there's also no, for instance, in California right now, we've extended our stay-at-home order, but people aren't necessarily getting their unemployment extended. So, like, that's another
July
catch-22.
1st it runs out, fam.
So what are people going to do?
Yeah, think about it.
That's the thing.
It's extended to the end of July. All right, but the extra money that from the CARES Act for the unemployment runs out July 1st. So what do you do for that month? You're going to take $350 a month? And then you might not even have a job to go back to, because the economy is not going to, and people don't understand that. You cannot be myopic with these things. And that's what they're doing. They give you a little cheese in the trap. They say, take this money. Here's your $1,200. Here's your $600 on top. But what about when the economy is supposed to reopen? The pandemic is, God forbid, or God hoping, I should say, cleared, and we can go back to doing whatever. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
The economy is not going to be the same. That's why this $2,000 a month, when Ilhan Omar first proposed this for a year after her and Rashida Tlaib, I said, that is great. And she also proposed for immigrants, you know what I'm saying, undocumented workers to get that money, which is something, if we were serious about this pandemic, we'd be doing. We shouldn't be sending our undocumented workers out there to fend for themselves. They got to go out there and work, because they're not getting that money. Yep. And how would they, you know what I'm saying? But that's supposed to put us in harm.
Well, that's if we would actually care about protecting people, we wouldn't be sending those people, because those people are having to work right now at least in LA County. they're out there selling their fruit, selling ice cream, selling whatever.
Have no choice, fam.
Because they're not getting anything.
Terrible.
And they're a very big part of the economy. And that's what you don't realize. Even if you don't care about people and you don't have empathy, it's actually economically disadvantageous to really not take care of them.
Yeah.
Because then a lot of the farm economy, a lot of the general economy that we don't really see on paper depends on the immigrant community. Another thing that this bill lacked was the automatic stabilizers. So as argued in a previous column by Forbes, there is a looming disconnect between the sluggish speed of recovery and the duration of unemployment benefits that were included in the $2 trillion CARES Act passed by Congress. This could have been solved through the use of automatic stabilizers, which would have tied the federal aid to the economic conditions. But the use of stabilizers would have basically removed the need to have additional legislation for more aid and would have automatically extended the aid as enhanced unemployment insurance until the economy recovers. But there is no extension of this aid. So they can say, oh, we're gonna extend the stay-at-home order, but they won't say we're gonna extend your unemployment. And that's something people were really scared about. And another $1,200 payment that might come out in September isn't really gonna help you.
It's so stupid. I mean, this is just, it's, once again, they can tell you, and a lot of people are saying, oh, we got to get people back to work. Like, why do we have to get people back to work? If this is a serious pandemic, why don't we keep people at home to make sure everybody's safe until it passes us by? But no, the fact that the government doesn't want to guarantee us that money to stay at home puts people in a very serious position. What do? Do we stay at home? Do we go to work? Especially for a small business owner. I talked about the time with the tattoo artist who was arrested because he had no money. He written his last check and he wanted to get the $200 so he can get food because he had no unemployment. He owned a tattoo shop, right? So he didn't get unemployment. And there's a lot of situations where people who used to drive Uber and Lyft, they're not even getting their money.
They were supposed to, but they're still waiting on it. And that's the thing. There's no improvements to people to get their funds more quickly and more accurately. None of that has been worked on.
Not whatsoever.
The websites have been down.
Terrible management.
On top of that. So there's really...
Terrible.
For instance, the whole Uber thing, they were just waiting. The government of California was waiting on the federal government to send them the proper formula, the proper protocol onto how to get money to these independent contractors. So again, like a lot of those people haven't gotten money. So this is just overall, it's another slap in the face. And a lot of people kind of stood against it, right? Tulsi Gabbard had an interesting take on this. And I think, well, we both disagree with her vote. But at the same time, I do want to point out, it is hypocritical to lash out at her this time where were all these people during the CARES Act? They were supporting the CARES Act. They were grandstanding. This is all what's happened after this is a bunch of freaking grandstanding to me. I'm not here for it. So let's just hear what she said and then go over what who actually voted no. No, just the beginning.
Yeah, the very beginning.
Aloha. I'm in the car here, literally right in front of the Capitol. Let's see if I can turn this around. I just finished the first vote of the evening. We had a round of procedural votes earlier today. And this first vote of the evening that I just cast, that's actually still ongoing as members of Congress are trickling in and out of the House floor, 20 by 20 to maintain physical distancing, is a rule change that will allow for the option of proxy voting in the House of Representatives. This is a very limited and very restrained exception. There is precedence for it in the aftermath of the terrorist attack on 9/11, when Congress needed to take immediate action, but there were very few flights, if any, that were flying. They passed a similar, very limited rule change to allow members of Congress to continue to do their jobs and represent their constituents from wherever they were. Similarly, in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic, I think there are multiple factors that led to making this decision to pass this, and I supported it. I voted yes. This is something that I've supported all along, and there's a few reasons why. Number one is with stay-at-home orders across the country, with many people who are members of Congress who are at an elderly age or who have compromised immune systems or who may have a loved one who is sick, there should be an opportunity, and they're unable to travel because of those I guess counter indicators. They should have the opportunity to continue to represent their constituents and cast their vote, even if they're not physically able to be here because of those extenuating circumstances. Another scenario is for members of Congress like me, my colleague, Congressman Ed Case. We're out in the middle of the Pacific. If a vote is called, especially one under short notice, and for whatever reason we're not able to get a flight back to go and make that vote, we're still able to cast a vote on behalf of our constituents in voting by proxy. And the third consideration is that there's a public health concern here where our home state of Hawaii is in a very different place in the coronavirus curve than New York, than California, than Louisiana. Every state is in a slightly different place in that coronavirus curve, and without this proxy voting option, really what's happening is you have 435 members of Congress convening in one location, bringing whatever they're bringing from their home, and then going back to communities all across the country.
Okay. I want to talk about that real quick. You know what I'm saying? That was the first provision. Like Johnny was talking about the 4 provisions in one bill.
Yeah.
This is the stuff I do like because this is about accountability, right? The first time they did it was a voice vote when it comes to the CARES Act. Nobody really had to put it on there. AOC kind of made this, she had this public opinion like, oh, I was against it, whatnot, but nobody really knew what was going on. We were all pissed off because they refused to call out the Democratic leadership anyways from the get-go. Yeah. So I do like the fact that, you know, no matter what, and I don't like a lot of the ways that Tulsi votes sometimes on these bills. I don't like the fact that she goes on and votes for this bill. But she wants to be transparent about it, and she thinks that it's important that all members of Congress go on the record for what they vote for at this moment in time. So I do like the fact that she was all for this, and she kind of pointed this. Whether you like it or not, I'm not going to hide behind a voice vote, which was a crock of shit. We're going to put it on record. But to do so, you got to give us proxy voting. And they did that during 9/11 when they grounded all the flights. They said people were in different parts of the country, and they should do that. But that's Nancy Pelosi. On the left, who's on the right? What's his name? I can't forget that donkey who's the minority house leader. What's his name? Who? No, Paul Ryan was the old school one. This guy, McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy, I think his name was. Yeah, from California, another one. Yeah, he's the one. They cover up for their members of Congress. They hide their votes. They reach deals with them. They can't do that. If you're going to cast a vote, if there's a bill out there, we need to be transparent, just like we need to eventually get to transparency in our elections. Same thing for Congress. So I like that part about what Tulsi was talking about when it came to that. Did you want to show any more of that and talk about the stuff? Because it's a long video, but she does go on to talk about the fact that there's a lot of things within this bill that should have never been voted on. They should be voted on by themselves. In other words, she's against the pork that we constantly put into these bills. Did you want to?
I don't know. I don't know exactly when that comes up. Towards the end. Yeah. It's towards the end.
We could just talk about it. Pretty much, Tulsi believes that there's a lot of stuff within this bill that she doesn't think that should be voted upon the bill. However, she's going to go ahead and pass the bill and vote for it because
she mentions that there's a lot that doesn't have the UBI. She definitely mentions
she was pissed off about that.
But she's still voting for it, and I think with her, it's like, well, we need to get money to people like right now.
The first responders.
The problem, and the first it did have the first responders thing, but I think the problem is again like. Here we go. We're passing another bit of legislation that doesn't really address people's concerns.
Yes.
So how many more is that? Like, how much longer are people going to be able to like live with 2 payments of $1,200 in a period of like 5 months? That's irrational. And I mean, not everybody has gotten their unemployment. Like, if we had cohesion as to who was getting unemployment, and we had a way to ensure that all the small businesses were getting what they were supposed to get, like it would be fine. But that's not what's happening. A lot of people haven't gotten anything.
Yeah.
And you can't, we can't continue to allow this. The reason I'm not as pissed off at her is because where were there's so much faux outrage right now. Like, oh, look, let's cheer AOC, Ilhan, and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, where were they with the CARES Act? Like, that was a big one. We already gave trillions of dollars to Wall Street and banks. We already did that. To corporations. We already bailed them out. The stock market is doing really well. And that's how you know this is all a crock of shit.
Yeah,
because
I know.
where the unemployment is the highest it's been since the Great Depression, yet the stock market is doing really well. So really, yes, congratulations on doing your jobs and voting no for the rest of these people. And we can go ahead and show the tweet that has a list
The no people.
of all the no people. And among these, I think you can say AOC, Omar, Tlaib, Pocan, Presley, Jayapal, Khanna, Porter, Lamb, Garcia, etc.
Jayapal.
Yeah.
With her votes lately, her comments lately, what she's doing, who she's backing sometimes. It's a little sad. She even said something, I think Jimmy Dore retweeted it and put it out there about her with the strengthening the access to healthcare, which we talk about.
Yeah.
You can't say those things, access, so a lot of people got pissed off at that. But
yeah,
go ahead, fam.
She's the healthcare advocate, the Medicare for All advocate. You don't start capitulating in the moment when we actually, this is the moment to pass Medicare for All, you guys. This is it. If anything proves we need Medicare for All, it's this. So even Bernie Sanders is saying, well, for only right now. No, you say you use this as a momentum to pass healthcare for all, period. Because we don't know what's next. We don't know if we're going to have another pandemic. It could be something else tomorrow. We really don't know. So like to really just kind of step back and say, okay, only for now, and Cobra and all this, it's bullshit. Like people really, this is the issue, I think, aside from the general strike movement and the rent movement coalescing, this is the issue that I think could get people across party lines to be like, okay, fine, we'll do that.
I got to go back and watch the floor debate, and I want to see what the Republicans said, on the floor. You get a lot of information. They really, it's very somewhat cryptic when you see them going over there time and time again, because they get together behind closed doors and they talk about their strategy and their plan and whatnot. And you had 184 voting no. It was all the Republicans no, and the majority of the Democrats voting yay with a couple of nays.
But it's interesting. The majority of Republicans are voting no because they don't want anything. They don't want anything
they don't want
more.
They don't want to devalue their currency anymore by giving it to the poor people.
And then you have the segment of the supposed progressive wing of the party voting no. So it's very interesting to see that the reasons why people vote no and yes do matter. Just because somebody votes yes on this doesn't mean I think they should be canceled. Same as the reason why just they vote no doesn't mean I should be like hailing them and creating like some sort of sainthood for them, because this wasn't the bill. The bill happened already with the CARES Act. If you were going to stand up to anything, it needed to be the CARES Act. Now everything else is consequential. Now we're at a time where we need to get money to people. So I understand why people are voting yes on it.
Yeah. Well, even the CARES Act was like 2 bills down the road. They already gave trillions before the CARES Act.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's like, it comes to Tulsi, Bernie, the squad, whatnot, there's not enough raging against the machine. They should have been pinpointing where all these trillions of dollars are going. They should be holding up. Look what Boeing had to fill out to get themselves $10 billion. Just sign their name, but you got to sell this, and you're going to be threatened with fraud and this and that, and we're gonna take the money back if you're a small business. They should have been pinpointing these things, not just the fact that we're getting this money to people who need it after you said the cut has already happened, fam, and it's too late. We just got to stitch it up. Get down to the root of the problem, like Marianne Williamson says, and we should have been fighting the shit for the get-go, because once again, I still see the little guy, the little girl out in the cold, just waiting for their check. Some of them haven't got it. They haven't gotten the help. There's no way forward. And yet, the big people, all those corporations, you get your cash like that. I got a couple super chat contributions to read real quick. I think one of my favorite people out there, Mad Wolf, says, Bernie, AOC, the squad, they're all dead and buried to me. I wish Jesse would run and crush both the Dems and Republicans. Dems just need to go extinct. Now, listen, if you come watch the show tomorrow at noon, we're going to be having a Jesse Ventura spokesperson come on the show and talk about some stuff that's going on. So if you're still...
Aaron Scott.
Yep. If you're still wondering what's going on with Jesse and you're still hoping, watch the show tomorrow at noon and find out what's going on. Oh, fam, look who gave us that there. They give it a super chat contribution. You remember, see if you remember this name. Brian Deutsch.
Oh, hey, Brian.
Remember Brian Deutsch? Brian Deutsch is our guy. When we started off the Convo Couch, he had a couple of production meetings to help us out. Brian Deutsch actually hooked us up with our first people, the LACreativeStudios.com. He sent us the way there, so thank you, Brian Deutsch. We love you.
Brian.
We miss you. He's not working now with everything shut down. He worked on a lot of sets, and we love Brian Deutsch. Brian Deutsch wants me to run against Adam Schiff. He always says that.
I think Pasta needs to run against Adam Schiff, guys.
Adam Schiff, Adam Schiff, Adam Schiff for brains.
That's
Jim
your slogan.
Crittenden said the last 6 months have demonstrated the truth of MMT. Yes, we afford Medicare for all. Real freedom, especially now. It certainly has, Jim. MMT, they're just creating money out of thin air. They create it for the big corporations, but the little guy, no.
So, fam, the votes that you showed for the 14 Dems, what was that on? What did they vote on?
That was on the Heroes Act.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't, though, because
that's
the one,
what it's.
the one.
This is what people think.
Yeah, I know. No, but he linked the clerkhouse.gov. It was to vote on the Heroes Act. This is HRES 965. And then, so I was actually able to find the actual Heroes Act. They reference it in the other one. It's so HRES 967 is the one that he linked. So it's to vote for the Heroes Act.
It's saying, can we vote proxy and all that stuff?
It's like three things in one. So it's vote proxy, and then providing for consideration of the bill, make an emergency. They providing for the consideration of the bill, HR 6800, which is the Heroes Act, HR 6800. And then if you go to the roll call here you can see that HR 6800. Here Ocasio-Cortez did vote yes. So she voted no to vote on the bill because they thought it wasn't ready. And then for the actual bill, it's like, okay, I guess we'll take it then.
Yeah.
Is basically what happened.
Right, but all that's being promoted by the leftist people, even Zephyr Trechau, Ro Khanna, all these people. Oh, Ocasio, and this is my whole point. Like Ocasio and them, they're voting no on it. That's what it's being understood to the public.
Right.
And so that's my whole point is that it's so difficult for most people to navigate through this, even us alone. Like, it's like, wow, we have to read every single fucking thing. This thing is 1,800 pages long.
There it goes.
Like, nobody's gonna read that. I don't like. That's like where is it? War and Peace is shorter than that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is like. This is what I mean. Like, it's grandstanding to me to say, oh, look at the progressives. They're standing up. Just go read a bunch of the tweets. Oh, look, congratulate them. These people are doing the right thing. Where were they during the CARES Act? At the end of the day, Ocasio lied. She pretty much did the same thing before, where she was saying, oh, I said no on that. When she didn't say no. She actually voted. She didn't, it was a voice vote. And she didn't say
I didn't hear a voice. I heard Thomas Massey
was the only one.
Tommy said Massey said there was a couple people who do it. He didn't mention AOC, and he said there was a couple people that went up to it after and said, man, I wish I would have voted the way you voted. It's like, well, why didn't you? Why does it have to be a freaking libertarian Republican to call out for transparency?
So that's the whole thing, Johnny, is like, I wanted, like, Tulsi Gabbard is now being like, oh, she voted, da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, but so did, like, everybody else,
Let me say this about, too, that, fam, though. Tulsi needs to get, we talked about this. We always said that, everybody always said that Bernie knows about the economic policies and the social policies, and Tulsi's great on foreign policy, but we always said that no, on paper, that Tulsi's pretty, she's pretty progressive when it comes to domestic and social issues. She was driven by her fight against climate change. That's Water Woman going to, you know what I'm saying? That's the first thing that really pushed her to go into office, was fighting for Mother Earth.
Yeah.
So when this came about, I wanted to see more, and I've told people close to Tulsi, I wanted to see more. Come on. Enough is enough. Put your foot down. Show that economically and domestically you're going to stick up for the people just as much as you do when it comes to our civil liberties and our foreign policies. We also talk about the 666 HR. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to talk to her more about that too. Because when it comes to, the whole coronavirus, she was out there saying we need to protect ourselves. She understood it from a foreign policy point of view, that if we don't the world globally now has to work together. Otherwise, we'll all be infected. She was great when it came to that stuff. When it comes to this, I'm still a little disappointed. I saw what she had to say. It's not that I'm ready to cancel her. I don't like her vote. I haven't liked her vote on certain things before, but I wish she would get a little bit more slay the dragon when it comes to these things, fam. This is where she needs to step up her game. Is come for us, show that she domestically and economically that she can be there for us too as well if she wants to continue with politics down the road. So even the fact they're not hating on her, she's not and that's the thing, she doesn't grandstand. She shows her colors. This is how I feel.
That's the thing. She went out and explained the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like in that whole 13-minute video. Like if you watch it, she explains everything, like why she voted for it. Nobody else is doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that more Congress people should do.
Yeah.
As an aside, it's not just because it's Tulsi. I mean, I think more people in general should do that. That's what I would do.
They like
I'd
to
be
play
like,
the oh my
okay,
God
let's break
card.
this down. Not like, oh, Republicans suck.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
OMG
go,
card.
oh, they suck. Look what Nancy Pelosi's trying to do.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Glory Jones says, negative for the super chat contribution is always appreciated on the couch. People are still capping for the squad, already paid off their mortgage, living in Super Weenie Hut Jr. All right.
Damn
and Tony watches closely. Tony, look out for the mail. Hopefully you got it. Always appreciate the great content y'all bring.
Y'all
bring.
Y'all.
We appreciate what you do for us, Tony. Watch us closely. Like I said, look in the mail. Something is coming on its way. Fam,
Winter.
let's talk about your favorite candidate running for president right now, okay? You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. What do you got to say about that?
You're a lying dog-faced
Pony soldier.
You are. So Joe Biden, Biden is what we discussed here with Ron on Friday. we he literally told us not to vote for him again. He said, if you believe the people who believe Tara Reid, well, I wouldn't vote for me if I believed Tara Reid. So again, I believe Tara Reid, so I guess I'm not voting for him because he told me to. So these are all the times that Joe Biden has told people not to vote for him, and this goes back a while. And he, of course, they mentioned what I just said. But on November 8th, 1979, while stumping for the Democratic candidate Joe, you say that, Mangini, in a Delaware General Assembly special election, then Senator Biden told voters, take a look at him. If you like what you see, vote for Joe. If not, vote for the other guy.
Let me say that. Take a look at him. If you like what you see, I can't even get my Joe voice on. And you know the thing, if you like what you see, vote for Joe. If not, vote for the other guy.
Okay, do the next one.
Okay. Well, I just want to do when it says his voice.
Okay, fine. So April 16th, 1987. During his 1988 presidential campaign, Biden told a group of voters at a campaign event in Iowa,
please, look me over.
And if they don't like what they see,
just vote for the other guy. Did he do that again? How many times did he say, just vote for the other guy? I'm like, is this a typo?
Oh, okay. So July 2018, during his second run for president, Biden once again told voters in Iowa,
if you like what I say, vote for me. If you don't, vote against me.
Okay, wait.
Oh, my God, this guy is too much.
Sorry, that was 2007. March 23rd, 2012, while campaigning for Obama's reelection, Biden told a crowd in Florida,
when you look at Barack and me, when you look at our opponents, take our measure, and then recited a familiar refrain. If you like what you see, vote for me. If not, vote for the other guy.
All right, 2019, Biden, 77, responded to voters' concerns about his age by declaring,
I say, if they're concerned, don't vote for me.
to a group of reporters in New Hampshire. And then November of 2019, Carlos Rojas, I love this one, an immigration activist, pressed Biden in an event in South Carolina on the issue of deportations during the Obama administration. Biden told Rojas,
you should vote for Trump.
There you go. And and we've seen him on Ed Fallon on these climate positions. Biden said,
you have to vote for someone else. You have to go vote for someone else. You know the thing?
That's the thing. Like, I mean, this is ridiculous. It's a joke. Okay, fine. We'll read the last one. May 4th, 2020, Biden said it on MSNBC interview that voters who believe Tara Reid's allegation he sexually assaulted her.
You probably shouldn't vote for me. And shouldn't have said vote their heart. I wouldn't vote for me if I believed Tara Reid.
Okay, that was better, fam.
All right. Sorry.
No. So these are all the times Joe Biden has told you not to vote for him.
Don't vote for me.
So maybe we should listen to him. I mean, he's very emphatic about this whole thing. Like, he wants to make sure that if you don't agree with what he's saying, He's not going to offer you anything to convince you. He's not going to give you Medicare for all. He's not going to give you rent cancellation. He's not going to give you debt forgiveness. He's not going to do anything to go after your vote. So if you don't vote for him, if you don't like him, don't vote for him.
Yeah.
That's it.
If not, vote for the other Biden. Wait, I'm the only Biden. My name is Joe Biden. I'm running for senator. Oh, wait, I'm not running for senator.
I mean, is this a joke? Are we?
No.
Are we in? I don't know where we're at anymore.
We're in Rick and Morty land. Can we watch Rick and Morty again? That Rick
we
and
do
Morty
need
was
to watch it.
so freaking. You know what I'm saying?
It was weird.
Morty, you're 14 years old. You watch YouTube shows of guys watching YouTube.
Should we do a YouTube video? Should we do a show where we're just watching YouTube?
Take us down sometimes. Rick and Morty's probably watched like crazy at the gate. Guys, thank you so much for all those super chat contributions. Thank you, Tony Watches Closely. That really does help us out, and we do appreciate it on the couch. It's always appreciated on the couch. We need to get a shirt like that.
Indubitably.
Yeah. We have 230 watches on our YouTube right now at 3:30, guys. We appreciate it. We love you. We have about 12 people watching on our ROKFIN. Go on over to our ROKFIN, ROKFIN, and sign up. Now, before we get to this topic, fam, I'm just telling you, you know what I'm jonesing for right now? You know what I need? We need a little Mark Sloboda in our life. We got to get back on with Mark Sloboda because we're talking foreign policy. We got to get back
Mark's
Mark
a
Sloboda.
Russian asset.
He is a Russian asset. He used to be in the United States Navy. He's an ex-seaman, my friend. But he would have loved to talk about these two things right over here. And even our crew would have loved to talk to Max Blumenthal's. Now, this is another thing. Remember we had the whole thing when Tulsi Gabbard kind of stood up for the victims of 9/11. We were like, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump, earlier, before he was even elected, talked about if he gets a chance that he's going to expose and give people the truth. These people have suffered for so long.
Okay.
Oh, did I skip something?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Let's go back to it. Bernie Sanders, my bad. I didn't see that yellow. Was that added in or did I miss that?
Yeah.
Before we get to that, I digress. Joe, cut that out.
It's just I just wanted to quickly mention, Bernie Sanders is asserting that the majority of his supporters will vote for Joe Biden.
It's not true. I didn't click on it.
He thinks it's just funny to me because it's really not true. So he told this reporter on Sunday that Joe Biden is not doing enough, and he's right about that, to attract his supporters. But he still thinks the vast majority of them will consider Trump as the most dangerous president in modern history, blah, 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 blah.
Too bad he said that shit in the middle of his fucking campaign that he thinks they'll vote for him. What a stupid asinine thing to say.
That it was a very stupid thing to say. And he said, and this is what they said, your former campaign manager, Jeff Weber, put out a memo this week where he warned that Vice President Biden is falling far short with your supporters. The supporters who supported you during the primary campaign that he's going to need in November. Is he right about that? And this was George Stephanopoulos who asked him on ABC's This Week. He said, Bernie Sanders said, I think at the end of the day, they will be voting for Joe Biden.
Disgusting.
But I think that Joe is going to have to do, and he's beginning to move in that direction, is to say that those working class people, say to those young people, say to those minorities, listen, I understand your situation, he added. He said, I think they're going to reach out to our supporters and come up with an agenda that speaks to the needs of working families.
Never going to happen.
Of young families, of minority communities.
Never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's never going to fucking happen.
Yeah, I agree. It's not.
Let's talk about the campaign. Your former campaign manager, Jeff Weaver, put out a memo this week where he warned that Vice President Biden is falling far short with your supporters, the supporters who supported you during the primary campaign that he's going to need in November. Is he right about that? And what does the vice president have to do about it?
Look, I think at the end of the day, the vast majority of the people who voted for me, who supported me, will understand and do understand that Donald Trump is the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. He's a pathological liar. He's a racist and a sexist, a homophobe, etc. And I think at the end of the day, they will be voting for Joe Biden. But I think what Joe is going to have to do, and he's beginning to move in that direction, is to say to those working class people, say to those young people, say to those minorities, listen, I understand your situation. You know, I understand that you are graduating college with tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars in debt. I understand that you don't have any health insurance. I understand that you're working at a job that is paying $12 an hour and you can't get by on that. We got to raise that minimum wage to a living wage. You know, I understand that you're concerned about not only the pandemic, but you're concerned about climate change and how we make sure that the world comes together to address the existential threat and in the process create millions and millions of good paying jobs. I understand that you're concerned about the racism within our criminal justice system and our immigration system. So I think that Joe and his staff understand that. I think they are going to reach out to our supporters and come up with an agenda that speaks to the needs of working families, of young families, of minority communities.
Okay,
Right.
I just.
I mean, it's so fucking so stupid.
Wait, pause that. It doesn't matter how many times Joe Biden tells me he understands when there is no action taken. I don't know why Bernie thinks that Joe Biden's people are going to somehow offer us Medicare for all, are going to somehow change their mind and become progressives overnight. Like, what? Why would they do that if so many in the Democratic Party have already said, well, you have to vote for Joe anyway? Like, you have to vote for him.
It's
Why
so
would
stupid.
why would we do that? We have no leverage. We have nothing. The only thing we can demand is outside of the electorate, and literally the only thing we have is our vote. We're not going to give that up just because some Joe Biden spokesperson says, okay, well, we'll consider some debt forgiveness. We'll consider some Medicare for all. Like, that's not enough. And I don't know where he's getting this idea that
It's so
they're
fucking
going to
stupid.
do this. It's very naive.
How about
It's very
this,
naive.
Fam, all the policies. Oh, just so what if he was pushed for the Iraq war? You know, you're going to believe him now. So what if he wrote the crime bill? Now he's going to tell you he's going to do something different, so you're going to believe him. So what if he was the first one who talked about building a fence tall before Trump even came onto the scene?
Yep.
But now you should believe him. So what if he pushed for regime change in Ukraine? Now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe
All
this
of the
fucking
things,
guy?
fam, all of the things he has said about Trump, a racist, sexist, homophobe, all of this, that literally applies to Joe Biden. Like, you can't say that now because Joe Biden is the same thing. If you want to call Trump that, you have to call Joe Biden that because he fits the whole narrative. He's got sexual assault accusations from like at least 8-9 different women. So does Donald Trump. And his are more serious, by the way. And if we're comparing here, you're talking about homophobia. Joe Biden believed marriage was between a man and a woman up until recently. Yeah. He was VP to a president that also believed that. Why aren't we calling Obama a homophobe? Or Hillary Clinton for that matter? And then, sexist, the whole Tara Reid thing. Racist, his work with segregationists, the crime bill. That is racist. That is a different kind of racism. It is legal racism.
No, it is. Yeah.
And so that's
same with his bankruptcy bill.
Exactly.
That's a class warfare all on its own. He made it harder for poor people to get more safety nets to help them out, to take them out of bankruptcy, to take them out of debt. He's the one who worked on these things. And Ukraine, we didn't even talk about it.
We didn't even talk about Ukraine.
Jesus Christ.
And the thing is, you cannot right now during this primary where Trump's ratings are going up and Joe Biden's are going down, really lead with, yes, they're going to vote for Biden because Donald Trump is the most dangerous. You're leading with the argument that Donald Trump is a reason to vote for Joe Biden and nothing else.
And
that is a dead argument. It's a dead argument in the water. We need to demand more. Joe Biden has not at all even tried to reach out to the progressives because they think that we're going to vote like Bernie. They're delusional in thinking that we're going to vote for Joe Biden anyway with nothing. And that's not the case. And I don't give a damn who Joe Biden's VP is. It doesn't matter. No. I don't care. That's a powerless position that really it's just inconsequential anyway because we don't think Joe Biden's going to beat Donald Trump anyway. Yeah, it's all bullshit. This is so naive of Bernie.
It's stupid.
It's so naive.
This is your legacy, pal. This is your I love this guy. This guy got us on. We're sitting here
in
in the show because
Bernie.
of him.
That's
but
the
this
thing.
is just sad to see what you have become and what you're doing and what you're pushing right now. It's just really, really sad. Louise Brooks says, so the task force are going to get together and read Bernie and Tulsi's campaign plans? ? Waste of time. Dem exit. You better believe it, Louise Brooks. Yep. Get the F out of here.
I'm with you. Johnny, do you have anything to say on that?
Okay, so let's talk about what I started talking about before. It is kind of important.
This is very important.
Well, remember what we saw a couple weeks ago? We revealed it on the show that the State Department, along with Barr, has buried any chance of them naming any of the suspects or anybody tied to the 9/11 terror attacks. And those are real terrorist attacks. We should talk about it whatsoever. But we've heard a lot of people echo what's going on. Jesse Ventura, who is believed to possibly be running for president, who's now took a back seat, who might come forth in June, we don't know, has always talked about questioning 9/11. In fact, on a Fox morning show, a host got up and walked away. Mike Gravel has always talked about it. We've always talked about questioning what's going on with your government. And there seemed to be a lot of things that were, possibly where there were connections between the United States intelligence, deep state, whatever you want to call it, to Saudi officials when it came to 9/11. Well, now it turns out that Iran and Turkey media has revealed Saudi official link to 9/11. Okay, so now they named somebody within the Saudi Arabian government who is nowhere to be seen right now, and said that they had aided. These are people working closely with the United States government and the Saudi government, aided some of the terrorists that came here, the ones that were trained in Florida, the pilots, whatnot, and aided them. So right now we have some leakage. We don't know much of what's going on, but this is what I want to talk. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is that when we talk about the deep state, we talk about the intelligence community, not everybody within those communities are just part of the master plan to control people. There are good people within the FBI. There are good people within the CIA. And we don't know who leaked this, but I think somebody was really, really pissed within the intelligence community and leaked out the name. His name was Mossad Ahmed Al-Jahar. Yeah, okay. And now they're trying to say it was a mistake. It wasn't him. There's no way this guy is to be found. So there's a lot of speculation going on. We don't know a lot, but I think it's important to put out that they're starting to leak some names. There are some people within the intelligence community who are going to stand up by the people. They were really pissed off what they saw, what they heard, the fact that Barr just buried this, the fact that Trump said they would put this out there. We saw when Tulsi was standing with these victims, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting that they're keeping this under wraps. And somebody was pissed off and leaked some stuff, fam. So I think it's important. We have to continue to pay attention to the story. Our governments are intertwined, not just Donald Trump and the Saudi government, Obama, the Clintons, the whole 9 yards. It's really just something we got to continue to look at, and a name was leaked. We don't know the how strong it is, the validity of it, but we're going to find out some more. But I just kind of want to point it out that the media linked it out. And it's kind of funny that they leaked it to Iran and Turkey because they've had some issues with the Saudi Arabian government, And so, yeah, I just want to kind of put that out there because we've been following the story. We're going to continue to follow it. If any more information comes out, we're looking for other names to be leaked, how they were linked to the actual government. Because right now, MBS is a different type of government, what's in there right now. But to the crown prince, the royal crown, we want to know more. We think that this was a planned attack within the deep state, whatnot, for more control. Because they always use a crisis to gain more power, the government that is, especially the deep state. You know what I'm saying? More of our civil liberties are taken away time and time again. What happened after 9/11? Patriot Act. Now they can spy on us whenever they want. Now they can suppress us. Now they can take us off there. You know what I'm saying? Those things happen in a moment of crisis. Now they're doing the same thing as well over here. The Earn It Act, they're really trying to push so the government can have a say of what can be put out there, what can't be put out there. Anytime we put a COVID-19 video up there, you'll see it will say COVID, the Wikipedia thing. They'll say like, oh, there's information that's out there. This might be misleading. This is the information you got to pay attention to. So everything is linked. We have to get to the bottom of this. And if our government was involved, we need to know. So right now, they got to be on the lookout. This guy has nowhere to be seen, fam. Nobody knows where he's at, but there's some people looking for him. And there will be people trying to protect him. So more to come on that as well. You want to talk about this here because this is totally disgusting, fam. This is totally disgusting. Go ahead.
So, according to Reuters, the U.S. weighs measure in response to Iran fuel shipment to Venezuela. So the U.S. is basically trying to
starve them out.
Yeah.
Put the boot on the neck.
Yeah. Sanction them, starve them out. And it's unfortunate. And one of the few people that has been covering this, actually, I wanted to read his tweet, but I don't think it's here, is Max Blumenthal. He has been on, of course, on this like white on rice. And he basically it says the United States is considering measures it could take in response to Iran's shipment of fuel to crisis-stricken Venezuela. A senior official in President Donald Trump's administration told Reuters last Thursday. It has a high degree of certainty that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's government is paying Iran tons of gold for the fuel, the official said, speaking on conditions of anonymity. It is not only unwelcome by the United States, but it's unwelcome by the region, and we're looking at measures that can be taken, the official said. So, I mean, this is just another power play. I mean, these people came out, the people who confessed that Donald Trump sent them to go and try to start another coup in Venezuela. And Venezuela is really well organized when it comes to their departments. It's a poor country, but these people were protecting. There were people protecting the sea. There were people protecting the land. They all communicated right away. They were able to target these people. Yeah. I mean, they had a whole system set up. And they stopped that, and it makes the United States look like a failure, because time and time again they continue to try to push to remove Maduro and install somebody like Guaido into the Venezuelan government. And if they can't do that, then they're just going to continue the sanctions, which is what they're doing now. They do not want Iran and Venezuela to make any sort of deal, because again, that's the other power structure. That's the anti-imperialist, anti-Western sort of power grab that we have there. And to me, it's interesting that they talk about helping Venezuelans and helping the poor Venezuelan people out of poverty, while simultaneously imposing sanctions and trying to come between the sale of oil and money in return. Like, if you really want to help a country, like, let them succeed. No, we can't do that. We only want to help them on our terms. Yeah. Help them to be better allies to us.
Yeah, it's draconian to have these sanctions on right now. Draconian. It really is. I mean, we're talking about a pandemic, and we said this. If they're infected, it infects us. We have to treat this globally. It's an invisible disease that's going to float around. So if we sit there and put sanctions on these countries, especially when it comes to Iran and Venezuela, when they're trying to get medicine, to get care in there, and then we're restricting that, that's just, at this moment in time, it's not only draconian, it's kind of stupid.
It's stupid because we're wasting so much money and energy on Venezuela, and we're not even taking care of our own people. So on top of not taking care of our own people, we're also sanctioning another country, and then we're going to turn around and say, look how bad of a leader Maduro is, because he can't get his country out of poverty, while simultaneously sanctioning them. It is the most hypocritical thing, and that's why I get so irritated when people talk about Maduro being a dictator, Maduro being this, not being good with the economy. Like, we are doing this to Venezuela. People don't ever talk about the sanctions. A lot of people don't know what sanctions are, but they are inherently an act of war.
Hey, when we had Tulsi down here and we asked her about sanctions and stuff, she says, listen, there's no mechanism within Congress that's gives us information on what these sanctions actually do. And I think a lot of us, when it started off with Mike Gravel, and he stopped Jimmy, like Jimmy was going on question, he goes, Jimmy, I want you to stop for a second. I want you to listen to me. Sanctions are an act of war. And then we all started repeating that. The Max Blumenthal, it's like, oh, what are these sanctions doing? We started looking into that. So that's what independent media can do for you. They can shine a spotlight on these issues, because these are really, like we say the word draconian. We're not joking, because sanctions mostly hurt poor people. We know this. They don't hurt the elites. They don't hurt the people who have money there. They hurt poor people. And that's just something we have to really understand what we're doing when it comes to these things. We shouldn't be imposing these sanctions all over the place. And I think a lot of people, they hear the word sanctions, they think it's just something like very casual. Oh, we want to change their behavior. It's a bargaining mechanism. No, it's not a bargaining mechanism. It's putting the boot on the throat of the country, of the most vulnerable people in that country, the poor and the people, the young people of the country. It really, really does suck.
And I just hate, like, how people, like, even routers turn this around and say, oh, Venezuela is in desperate need because of what occurred under Maduro. All of this is, I mean, I'm not saying Maduro was perfect and that he, but the sanctions we have imposed on this country and on countries like Venezuela have absolutely been the number one factor in maintaining them in economic disarray. And even amidst that, they provided housing for their people. They provided money for their people.
People are loyal.
They provided a rent-free. I mean, this is what Maduro has done. I'm not saying it's been perfect by any means, but how can a government such as his ever exist under our Western capitalist empire? This is why they talk about the Western imperialism. This is why they're so against us, not because they're evil, but we have to also look into the things that we do to these countries in order to maintain the facade of capitalism, because that's what it is. It's making sure that capitalism continues in the world. That's why I'm a socialist. Sorry.
Poopy Cake says, thank you for Sending love from
Poopy
the UK.
cakes.
Thank you, Poopy Cakes. It's always appreciated on the Calix. I like your emoji, too. It's like the little poopy guy dancing and stuff like that. Johnny, what else we got before we get on out of here?
Yeah, I kind of just wanted to show. I saw this on Instagram. Aura posted this or reposted this. I just kind of want to show the police response to crowds in Huntington Beach and the stark contrast to this response here.
Oh my God, what are y'all doing?
Back up. Back up. Come on, bro. Watch out, my nigga on the hood, bro. On the hood, bro.
Don't put your fucking hands on him, bro.
Hit her. Hit her. Swing. Swing. Swing that bitch. Swing that bitch. Swing that bitch, nigga. Swing that bitch, nigga. Swing it, nigga. Swing it, nigga. Swing it, nigga. Swing that bitch.
Okay.
So,
can you give the context?
So basically, Slauson Girl posted this. Chaos erupts at Jesse Owens Park when police attempt to arrest several people. LAPD said none of the arrests were related to social distancing violations. Now,
where's their gloves, John?
I saw this comment. It says, you don't see this type of behavior happening at the protesters in Huntington Beach. Our folks out here continue to be a target. So I just kind of wanted to show that in this is another video of the same.
Well, granted, he was being very like argumentative with it.
Right, of course. But then you see like this crowd, like this was like today.
Where's this at?
This was posted today from Huntington Beach.
We have to go there and talk to this.
So we see this big crowd. Huntington Beach is like reopening, like restaurants and stuff are like reopening.
It's like Florida.
But like Newsom didn't.
Well, he can't. So they really can't. The small businesses are reopening. I get that.
And even Trump, like, oh yeah, here's Kevin Hart out in Huntington Beach, just
Kevin
showing
Hart.
you guys that.
And then my wife says to me, "Well, now you get a paint job on the entire car."
There's Kevin Hart out there. It's interesting.
It's interesting. He's a Trump. He's a Republican.
I don't know. He was just out there, I think, in Huntington Beach. But yeah, this is what Trump tweeted. He said, "MAGA crowds are bigger than ever," and this is what from May 16th in California, Huntington Beach. So look at that huge crowd.
So here's the thing, like, this is a higher class crowd too.
Of course, it's HP.
Yeah.
It's OC. It's the Orange County.
Right. So it's both. We got two things here. We got the money situation, the money and power. These people have the money and the power to do. I mean, they're well funded. I mean, not everybody, right? But the majority of these people are middle class and up. Then you have the people that are always targeted by the police, that usually people of color, but they're also poor. And so I guess your point is to show the difference between the police response.
Where's the Jesse Owens parking?
It's like
LA.
South LA or East LA around there.
What the fuck are they doing? Why? And they're over there. Why?
So I think these black Americans were hanging out outside of this park, and I don't. I've seen people hanging out at the park, and it's kind of like this. It's like, okay, we should be social distancing, right?
Yeah.
So the same goes for the crowd in Huntington Beach,
right?
And the same goes for the crowd at the parks.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if it just so happens that I think they also said that the police said that they someone had a search warrant or something. They had a warrant or something.
Of course, but that's the thing. People there are going to have.
You're going to find that in that park. And maybe in Huntington Park you won't find that. You'll find maybe, I don't know, sex
traffic
offender
tickets
or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But that's the thing. But that goes all the way back to
So then,
the
like,
economic aspect
exactly,
of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
Being poor is more expensive.
I saw this video of I don't know if it was in Arizona or whatever it was, but it was a couple weeks ago, and it was like these ladies and the kids and these moms, and they got together and they were going on this park, and the police officers were there. It took them like 20 minutes before they arrested him. Eventually, they arrested the mother who refused to not, stay off the playground.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of funny because you see, it's like, then we saw those reports of what's going on in Hollywood, Florida and shit, the way the cops are just rolling up there arresting people, throwing them down. But it's such a class racial thing that it's kind of disgusting right now.
So
at this point, Jesse Owens Park, you're just gonna go there. Why are we gonna fuck with people right now?
Apparently we are, and you know what you guys haven't seen. I kind of want to. We haven't been driving very much, but I drove yesterday. I went hiking and I went through LA, and like there are way more tents, like way more tents. I'm going to have to take like a video of that, because now it's like I was trying to get on the highway and it was like almost impossible to navigate through the tents because they're right under the bridge. So what we're going to be seeing is a lot of arrests, a lot of people getting sick because the homeless don't have any protections. And nobody's doing anything. Like, we had an issue. You've heard us talk about the homelessness crisis here way before this pandemic. Imagine what's going to happen now. And all the people, I know people that are continuously feeding the Carlos and Michelle's, and it's called Urban Partners LA. And they have seen the lines just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the people change from working class people to middle class people who just haven't gotten any sort of money. Immigrant people who may be doing have a regular job, but they don't have documents, so they're undocumented. It's like
we have all these empty malls.
We haven't even remotely addressed that prior to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And now we have the pandemic. People don't even realize how bad it's going to be here specifically.
Why don't they take these empty malls?
We're the most progressive state.
Yeah.
In the country.
Take these empty malls that have all the plumbing, all the electricity, you can just hook up.
That's what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to put people in hotels, fam. And they're not doing that.
And they're not doing it. Instead, that, you know what I'm saying? And now, guess what? In a couple months after the pandemic goes away, if it does go away, you're going to have a lot of more homeless people because of the money grab. And what they did in TARP is the same thing they did over here. They left mortgage middle class, lower middle class people, just people who have one or two houses, whatnot. They left them out in the cold. They didn't give them any protections. And they're not going to send them back out to the normal world where they can make that money. Everything's going to change. Restaurants alone, the ripple effect from restaurants and concerts.
They'll never be able to recover. Musicians, people, independent.
Now you can't have these gatherings. Now you can't have the truckers who send the food
LA.
And the workers. It's terrible.
This economy is so dependent on that. And LA has a huge economy. A huge part of that is California in general as a state. We go down, the rest of the country goes down. I'm telling you that.
That is so true. There's so much of the federal, like I told my mom, sorry, a lot of the federal tax dollars are taken out of New York and California. We actually support the majority of the country because they take money while we give it. So now we want a little extra money for more securities right now till this thing passes over and people want to start questioning. No, go back to work. Get the F out of here. We cannot go back to work right now. It's time for staying at home, being safe, and we need our police to stop
and that's the thing.
Harassing these people.
Going back to this, the police.
It's terrible.
So the government is pushing for more surveillance on their end. Then the police are feeling empowered because of the coronavirus to protect people under security, under safety. You're going to see that. On top of that, people are feeling like their civil liberties go away because of the pandemic. They're also running out of money. They have zero trust in the government. Why do you think gun sales have gone up? And so there's all these effects kind of coming into a tipping point where, yes, there's racial, there's economic, there's all these things going on. And, with Ahmaud Murray's case, that was like, again, that's a whole other thing where it's a lot of fear being driven. And it's a lot of people are just scared and they have zero trust in the government. And I can't tell them, hey, let's ban all guns. Why? Because why is the government still armed? Why are the police so heavily armed? Why is the military so heavily armed? How can we as people call for taking people's guns away, right? This is where the right gets like their argument. When you don't trust the government, this is the libertarian side where if you don't trust the government, I'm sorry, but you have the right to arm yourself. That's the whole point. That's the whole dilemma. It's not about, I personally, I don't like guns, period. But for me, it's like, I understand now you're going to lose a gun argument, Democrats, when you're continuously surveilling and infringing upon people's civil liberties. Then it goes the other way.
It's funny because when it comes to the gun situation, we're gonna have on I believe it's Thursday at noon Pacific. Dak Rowlow or Rolu, I never say his name. Dak is gonna come on. He's a big advocate for gun. He was saying last time, so we'll talk a little bit there. Rulo, whatever his name is. We'll talk a little Tulsi and whatnot. I know it's so crazy. But really, they don't ever go out at the, once again, the heart of the problem, too, when you have a lot of these mass shootings and whatnot. Economic and resource unrest leads to everything. When people don't have money, they start blaming people who don't look like them. When we start taking the resources away from everybody, that's a fuel on the fire of already racial tensions that we have that have never really been addressed. I might not agree with the ways. I don't know necessarily if we talk about, reparations and stuff, how we deal with them and stuff, but we do have to address the problems. And when you have an economic problem, it just pours more fuel on the fire. And that's what you see. Like, we don't have Medicare for all.
Yeah, that's
so we don't
another
have
thing.
mental health
We don't
issues
have
and
zero-
stuff. So
yeah.
everything combined, we have to really
We just
look at
give
the root of
people
the problems. We get them pissed off, they grab guns and they go off.
And even with Medicare for all, like it took 2 seconds for somebody to give me Adderall, but it's taken years to even have medicinal marijuana in a lot of states, which for a lot of people does the same thing as a chemically created fake pill. I'm not saying some people aren't chemically imbalanced and need it, but I am saying like the American thing to do is just medicate people and not understand why they're having these issues. And a lot of these issues arise from our system.
Yeah.
So,
and if you want to know why we didn't get out of Afghanistan for a long time, guess where all the opioids come from? Afghanistan. People don't understand why we were there for so long. That's the reason why.
And a lot of people
big
came back
pharma
very addicted,
messed
to that.
up and addicted, and that's what we do. They just give, like you said, fam. It's 2 seconds to give you Adderall, and nothing else is really addressed when it comes to it. Not the root of the problems. We need money for therapy. We need people. We have to have therapists. They need to be out there talking to people.
That's what I like
connected to
about
people.
Marianne Williamson. When she ran, she not only addressed like the scientific part of it, but also like the non-traditional medicine
She's the
aspect of
only
it. Just healthy food. Our food is
Sick care
contaminated.
problem.
I mean, it could go on for days. You guys should watch the movie with Mark Ruffalo, Dark Waters.
Yeah.
That was a
Also,
really
she's
good
the only
movie.
one who said we need to look at our immigration policy and see how it's attached to our foreign policy. She was
Yeah.
one of the only ones.
Yeah.
Johnny, we got anything else before we get out of here? We're coming on 85 minutes right now. That's it. Oh, we want to show the superhero. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't gone to the Instagram Zago Brothers, there's a
Zago Brothers.
Yes, they
Zago.
did a couple months ago, and Matt Taibbi and Katie Halper talked about it. Your boy Mike Tracy talked about it.
Unsold.
A couple people have always talked about the unsold, who's in there, a little bit of everybody. I don't know if we're in that one. Are we there? I don't think we're in the big picture yet. We haven't made the big picture. Jesse Ventura, bottom right. Nina Turner's in there as well. Ron Pacone, Steph Sembrano, Nam Chomsky, Michael Tracy. What's his name is over there? Jamal Charles.
Jamal Thomas.
Sorry, thank you. Thank you for catching me. Jamal Thomas, Lee Camp, Tim Black's in there, Mike Figueredo, Graham Elwood.
I don't know about Emma.
Emma.
Yeah. We can
There's
put a
Tim
big
Black.
X on that one. We
Nico.
can put a big X
Nico.
on a few of those.
The unsold, been sold.
There's Julian Assange with handcuffs.
Yeah.
I like Julian.
There's
George Galloway.
Kim Iverson.
Yep.
Also.
Yep. We are in there as well.
I think that's Whitney Webb, I think. I don't know.
Ah.
Oh, Jesse Ventura over
Is
here.
that that's Chelsea Manning down to the left over there, I think, with the hair? Is that no? Oh, who knows?
Kinda hard to
Anyways,
Oh, yeah, Chelsea Manning.
we're in here. They have actually joined, made us, we're part of the crew. As you can go through. Oh, there I am. Can you show me again real quick? Look at me. I got a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Right next to Dr. Cornelius and Emma Vigeland. God, is that just a
Emma.
motley crew?
I have a request, guys. Emma,
What does it say? They just added that. That's new, whatever they added, the words. Let's see.
Can we have a vote?
A truly honest person who
Digs
Let's have a
through all
voice
the
vote.
filth and deceit of politics to give us a clear view. We give it a 0 chance that this guy will ever sell out. But if he ever does, we're pretty sure he would share the spoils with everyone else.
They put some stuff. Well, fam, they decided to make her a superhero. Johnny, show super fam.
Oh, God.
Here she is. The Adventures of Fiorella and the Secret Serum. Go ahead, man.
No,
You read it.
In a black site somewhere unknown, rebels are rounded up by agents of the neoliberal secret order who currently testing rehabilitation methods to cure critical thought. There she is with the mask over there. Who's that? So, I can't see. Who do we have here? Swoosh. He pulls the hood off. Fiorella!
I like the pink hair.
With the pink hair. So Fiorella is being held captive. I can't read. That's too small, John. Let's see if we could still make a good citizen out of her. And they take the moderate serum. Boom. They put it into it.
Moderate.
This will make us fall in line. This will make you fall in line. She slumps over, Fiorella. What do you think of Bill Maher? Okay. Hillary, I'm with her. Medicare for all. Who wants that? Oh my God, this is so great. Russia sucks. You're free to go now, and remember, blue no matter who. And Fiorella shows a stark face. Oh, how about NPR?
I love it.
So far, it's set up that they think that they've given Fiorella the superhero some serum that will turn her into a blue no matter who, that will turn her into a good citizen, and she'll behave. Find out on the next episode of Fiorella is the Unsold.
That's cute.
So check it out, ladies and gentlemen. It was really cool to see that, you know. Rocky Bellinger was like, fam, you're a superhero. This is awesome. That's where I saw it, and I went and found it, and just pretty cool stuff. So you got made a superhero. Hopefully they'll give me a cooking episode. Maybe they'll put my food
It's a special
instead.
weapon.
So yeah, the comment they made is that Fiorella Isabel has risen among our top favorites. She is the Joan of Arc minus all the religious delirium. It's time to be angry, and she's not letting us down. She warns us about idealizing leaders, but we don't mind idolizing her.
Do not idolize me.
Well, they idolize your mentality and said is that no matter what, we got to call these people out.
So give these guys a follow, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, Zago Brothers. I'm actually contacted them, and I said, listen, I love some of your artwork. He had one
Yeah.
thing that was great. That was Obama reading a book and everybody falling asleep around. Oh, right there, right underneath the Fiorella one. Look at that one, Johnny. These guys just the big sleep.
That's amazing.
It's Obama telling a story, and everybody just falling asleep, occupied.
Oh, yeah, because they were telling a story the other day, right? Or some news was showing that.
Yeah. Well, Obama and Clinton spoke for the graduating class. I forgot which college. And they were talking about, you know, they were the role models for the graduating class of 2020.
Give me a fucking break.
So,
but it's the truth when you say when Obama was the president, the war movement went to sleep, Standing Rock, a lot of people, Occupy, everybody went to sleep because they were afraid to chastise and attack Obama. You know, they pulled the identity politics in them.
The Obama thing, but that was like the only movement that rose.
Yeah.
The Occupy movement.
And it really didn't seize power the way it should.
No, but because people were still like,
Obama, you can't criticize him.
And the whole
they used the
racist
same
thing.
tact. You know,
Yeah.
Listen, Steve Batista, he did, and I kind of commented when it came to the Obamagate thing. He was like, oh, let me tell you what Obamagate is. Some country boys, they can't put their finger on him, so Obamagate. Let's blame the black man. It's like, fuck you Hollywood piece of shit. You took that money, you got in line, and there you go. They're still using the identity politics, even on Obamagate, when he got caught red-handed. He got caught red-handed.
They won't even use the term Obamagate because they'll be like, oh, that makes you sound like a right-winger.
Yep.
That's the thing. We need to separate what, you know, your prejudice against people like the people on the right just because they're on the right. Like, yeah, okay, there was racism, but what happened, what Obama did, and Obamagate, so to speak, what we discussed on the show, that is very real. And that is something that I think like people need to know about so they stop falling into this whole idea that Obama was the greatest president, blah, 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 that we miss Obama. Did you know that Bushes were CIA involved, like their whole family, for years?
Yes, George Bush Sr. They accused him of being the head of the CIA, and it was like, oh, nope, that's not him.
And
they
we
like
have
really
people
fought that
missing
shit.
him right now.
Oh,
we have people calling, oh, we miss Bush.
Yeah.
You fucking moron.
That's what I'm saying. That was the whole thing. Bush Sr. was the head of the CIA.
Bush Sr.
So when you put him into power, you know what I'm saying? It was so crazy.
That's like full circle, right?
Yeah.
Like they assassinated JFK, and then now they got their CIA puppet in power
office
with Mr. Bush Sr.
And it was kind of funny because, like, at that particular time, Johnny, I think there was a really big fight when it came to AIPAC and what they did and who the intelligence community was listening to. In other words, that's where the divide is. Now the divide is like there's the Democratic elected Obamagate people versus like the old school Bush people that he put in, you know, and before him, because his Junior only just followed in his dad's footsteps. Yeah. Junior hired everybody that was in dad's cabinet, Wolfowitz and all these other guys.
Well, Junior isn't as smart as dad. That's the thing.
Well, the only thing Junior could do was hire his daddy's people. Remember, Junior said, one of the reasons we're going into Iraq is because this guy tried to kill my dad. He literally looked at the camera and said that. It was one of the fucking reasons for us going in to get rid of
he wasn't the brightest, the sharpest
Saddam
tool
Hussein.
in the tool shed.
No,
so they put in Bush Sr., and then what happens after that? 9/11.
Johnny, what should they watch on Netflix? Bobby Kennedy.
Yeah, the Bobby Kennedy.
Can we watch Bobby the movie
documentary?
We got to watch it. I'll pay the $2.99. Bobby the movie by Emilio Estevez. It's kind of a really cool. Emilio Estevez. He held on to this movie for years because he didn't want to release. But it was actually just an amazing kind of story, and I think we should watch it. It's a good movie. So watch it. Let's talk about our new format before we get out of here. Johnny, we got anything else before we get out? So the new format is this. You can watch us live, streaming here or streaming on ROKFIN. We will not repost the live stream on our YouTube. Instead, we will have it clipped up so you can share it. Ladies and gentlemen out there, please share our clips. We'll have each section clipped on up. The repost of the live stream, if you do want to watch it, you're not all totally lost. You can go to our ROKFIN. We'll have it reposted there. And if you're a Patreon member, you can watch it over there as well.
Any tier.
That is the new formula.
Yep.
All right. We still have our ROKFIN Wednesday exclusive coming up this week. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking to a campaign insider for the Jesse Ventura campaign, and we're going to get a lot of answers. If you're interested to see what's going on with Jesse and the true story, we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to talk about it. Last week, we had Kevin Zison, who represents Howie Hawkins. So there's a lot of things up for grab, fam, because I'm voting third party. I just don't know what I'm going to do just yet, but we're going to talk about some more stuff.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Right, and then on Thursday, we'll have Dak on at noon. Both of these at noon Pacific. And, of course, we'll have the main show, the CONVO Couch, with Pasta Fee and Johnny Sue on the ones and twos. What time, Pasta? Noon tomorrow Pacific and noon tomorrow Thursday. We'll have
noon Pacific, 3
Eastern. With Pasta Jardula.
Fiorella.
Johnny Sue on those ones and twos. I'm hungry.
We're unsold. Bye. CONVO out.